Hello, I'm Jacques Halbronn. I speak on French astrology, and I would like to address today. We are the 1st of August of 2014. I would like to address the question of the precession of equinoxes. My research on historical knowledge, my archaeological research, concludes to considerable change of references throughout the ages. I came to the conclusion that the symbolism of the Sphinx was a Sphinx, that is the four beings which you can find in many different scriptures: lion, Taurus, eagle, man, Taurus being the bull, of course, or the ox. These four factors, which are also connected with the four evangelists, with the arcana of the tarot called the Word, the Monde, they are now inscribed, incrusted in the zodiac. What I mean by that is that the zodiac is really something basically connected with the seasons, the cycle of the seasons. And this is okay, apart from the fact that many symbols have been corrupted and you cannot connect them very easily with the original source, which is the activity of mankind, of societies throughout the year. But still, there's some connection which afford to say that there is something between the zodiac and the cycle of the seasons. But, on the other hand, as to concerns the four beings that I have just mentioned, they quite obviously do not fit with the seasons where they are supposed to be now. For instance, I showed that the eagle is a very important symbolism, which is connected with the spring, and which is now related to Scorpio, the constellation of Scorpio, which is a sign of the autumn and fall. It's a paradox. In order to put the eagle in connection with spring, you have to return 12,000 years ago, roughly. And then you do have this connection. So apparently these four beings have evolved in connection with the precession of equinoxes. And that's why they are not any longer in correspondence with the seasons that we know today. The age of the zodiac is therefore not later than the time when the eagle was related to the spring, which is, as I said, 12,000 years, which is the half of the global cycle of the precession, which is 25,000 years, roughly. As you know, this system is also the basis of the eras, you know, Aquarius age, etc., Pisces age, and Taurus age, etc., which has been developed at the end of the since the end of the 18th century in France, with not especially about with Charles François Dupuis, Dupuis, and the origin of all cults. At this time, beginning after the campaign of Egypt by Bonaparte, they returned to France. They imported the zodiac of Dendura from an Egyptian temple. And there were many speculations about the age of this zodiac, which is now at the Louvre. And I have not in mind, but I will check later on, not in mind what were the conclusions, but they were using this sort of argument that I've just developed now to determine the age of this monument. Okay. The precession of the equinoxes is also an important matter in what regards the rulerships. I already mentioned that probably in a previous lecture, but it's never useless to repeat certain things. You know that according to Ptolemy, 2nd century after Jesus, the AD, the moon is in Cancer, the sun is in Leo. Well, if you admit the idea that moon and sun are in sort of dialectic, two different principles anyway, they should be separated by the axis of this represented by the solstitial axis, which takes part between Gemini and Cancer and not between Cancer and Leo. So we have here an indication that something has been shifted. Besides, I will insist on the fact that Moon and Sun are more connected with winter than with summer. They belong to what they called in the quick planets, the quick stars, and the quick stars correspond to the beginning of a process. The moon is very often, as a matter of fact, referred as a commencement, the beginning of things. And if you start the process of a cycle in autumn, like the Jews do with their new year in September, this is the time for the moon to be mentioned. And about the sun, I don't know exactly. Possibly just before the moon, or well, the point is, we have a doubt that sun and moon should be connected with the solstice of summer, and we would prefer to put it at the solstice of winter, which would correspond to the birth of Jesus and Christmas, and the solstice of winter. So here also we have some sort of reversion, something which has been shifted. I would like to return now to what I started to say about the four beings, which you find also in the book of Ezekiel and also in the Apocalypse of St. John. The Taurus, in fact, does not represent summer, but fall. as opposed to the eagle, which represent not fall but summer. Taurus bull is an animal which is used for sacrifices. The corrida is the reminiscence of such a process of killing the bull. And fall is the moment when you kill the animals which have been nourished during the summer and spring. You kill them because we need food. You need food because nature is not giving you any more food, so you have to substitute with animals. In the classical representation of the months in the almanacs and in the books of hours, you have the pig, which plays a very important role. A pig becoming pork when it's dead, which is exactly the case. Like the Taurus is also sort of, there's a change between the ox and the beef. So these animals are really connected with food, not like eagles. And the food we need from the animals is the food which comes when the nature is becoming difficult, and you need to find some sort of change of substitute. So when astrologers tell us that Taurus is connected with spring, it's a major mistake. It's a nonsense. Taurus is the animal which symbolizes the end of summer and the beginning of another cycle. And Taurus is connected with the sun and with the moon also. There is a cult of Mitra. The sun itself represents a circle and a crescent of the moon. So all this has to be reported to autumn and not to spring. A final point which I would like to remind you is the fact that the day begins not when the sun rises, but when the sun sets, like the Jews say. The beginning of Shabbos is the end of Friday, not the beginning of Saturday, or not the dawn of Saturday, by no means, of course. So also here we have a sort of shift. Everything has to be put in a different direction, upside down. The astrology is upside down totally, from the point of view of the ascendant. In fact, I think that it would be better to start from the descendant and not from the ascendant, and have the 6 first houses, or 4 houses if you prefer 8 houses system, under the horizon, from right to left and not from left to right as you do usually. And the other 6 or 4 houses would start from the ascendant, which is corresponding to spring, and the end of the system will be house 7, which will be house 12 or house 8. As a matter of fact, the house 8 is still today connected with death, and it's not without interest, because house 8 is the end of the the whole system if you start from the descendant. That's what I wanted to tell you. So you see that's a little difficult to accept and to assume, but most of the astrological techniques are marked by this shift, which is a 180 degrees change.